Good Yom Tov, Rabbi Sai. Rosh Hashanah, Tov Shin Pei Daled. You know what it stands for? Tei Shnas Daf. Oh! How did I not think about that one? It's unbelievable. So we're sitting here on Rosh Hashanah. They're not recording this b'chlal. No, but seriously, this is the second cheer on Motzi Yom Tov. We just finished Daf Lamed Hey. Everybody left the Beis Medrash, and we have a few people. And I just want to repeat a few things. That it was a tremendous Kiddush Hashem yesterday here in this Beis Medrash, where 80 people showed up at 5 o'clock on a Rosh Hashanah afternoon, just to show the dedication for Torah and what it means, which it also happened to be the first 100 years ago to the day on Rosh Hashanah. That's when Daf Yomi started. 100 years ago, Reb Meir Shapir came up with this unbelievable idea. And one of the things he said was, one of his big ideas was the achdus that the Daf is going to create. That when you learn here, you learn there. And I don't think he thought about what we have here. He thought that, okay, they're going to learn maybe over there, in that Hasidus over there, in that Litvish over there. And then he uses the Lashon. In Baltimore, I was in Baltimore, and Reb Schwartz learns the Daf, and I don't remember where else, in Europe. But just tonight, right over here, there's Hasidim from Tosh. And right next to them, people with the Kippas Ruga. To have that kind of thing, I don't think you ever imagine you're going to have a chassid sitting next to the guy with the Kippas Ruga on the same table learning the Daf. That's like unimaginable. But so it was a tremendous Kiddush Hashem that 80 people showed up. And it's a big schus to be part of this. And we do have some sponsors. We're not going to read any emails because of the late hour. What? Oh, Leiluy nishmat Miriam Mordechai. Shkoich for sticking around. We have a guest here again from Yerushalayim. He's going to be back at home at 2 a.m. So the koil is not sponsored by anyone. The Masech, the Lakewood Lebovic families, Lakewood NJ, because torah and achdus are the best segula. Paras achodesh Rochel bas Leba for Refuah Shelemah Karev. Paras achodesh nishmat Chaya bas Yosef. Paras achodesh as a zchut that our family should be blessed with health. Simcha nachas for 120. Paras achodesh Hatzlocha the zchut Yosef Meir ben Rochel. Paras achodesh Elan Chaim Golan. Leiluy nishmat Batsheva Chaya bat Miriam. Paras Hashavua. Thank you to Hashem for all the good He has given us and continue to give us. Paras Hashavua, the second one, just an Ivri, dedicated to my personal hero inspiration. I gotta rechange this a little bit. Maybe from tomorrow. Reb Eli Shlita and family. Tam Torah connected. Kulam. Yirotz Shizkal to the Seichem. L'Rotzim V'Tizk L'Nachas Gdushat B'Lidai. L'Shara Tovah T'Kasevu T'Chasemu. L'Ad L'Chaim Tovah L'Shalom. By the way, I only say L'Shara Tovah T'Kasevu. Pia Goin. So we got to take that out also. And in honor of your great father, Reb Yankiv David, har'ç Reb Yankiv David Shlita, to whom all of us at MDY owe a huge Hakor Satovi and Shukach. I don't even know if I could say that because it's my father's name. Because I'm going to have to take that out as well. That's the last time I'm saying it like that.
Every day you'll make this whole big.
Yeah. Dar of the month, Yosef ben Chaya Sarah for all the schusim that come from supporting Limud Torah. So if you want to see what my chart looks like, that's in the next year, Lamed Hey. Compared to Yoshi's chart, I'm not going to show it again. I go bottom. We're holding by the wide lines on Daf Lamed Gimel Amud Beis. Ibaylo. And Be'ezer Hashem, we're catching up today. This year, we're going to catch up to where we need to be. Ibaylo Rochel k'mahalach dami Eli. So Gemara asks, Givaldik Akasha. A person is on a donkey. A Rebbe is on a donkey. A Rav is on a donkey. How do we view a guy on a donkey? How do we view a guy in a car? He's sitting in a chair. He's sitting in the chair of the car, a comfortable couch. Driving down the road, is he standing or sitting? It's very important to know. Because when a rabbi, a Rav, is standing, you have to stand up for him. But if he's sitting, you don't have to stand up for him. Seems like, and people were, wow, what? So if a Rav walks into the room in a wheelchair, you don't have to stand up for him? Seems like you don't have to. He has to be standing up. So if a Rav is on top of a donkey, the donkey, you hear the Shiloh, donkey is standing. Are you standing because the donkey is standing? But you're sitting. You're mamish comfortable on the donkey. So are you sitting or standing? What are you? Do we go after the guy holding you or after the donkey? What would everybody say here? What seems more logical?
You're sitting. You're sitting.
You're sitting. The Gemara says it then, no, you're standing. That's what you think, but it's standing or sitting. Yeah. Iboilu. Rochel k'mahalach dami Eli. Omer Abaye, Toshma. So it goes like this. Rabbi said you could just take a look at these charts here. A Mitzayra is somebody that has an affliction of tzaras on his skin. Like the reporter. He's holding the microphone. The pasuk says, I'm going to show you the pasuk soon, that's a few charts later, so I don't want to skip ahead. You know what, we'll just do it, why not? Let's jump to that. It makes more sense. Here. It says that a Mitzayra, he emits his tumah to everything that's in the room. Everything that's in the room is called tumah soil. When you have something tameh in a room, it could be in that corner, everything in the room becomes tameh because there's a roof on top of him, so the tumah goes in the whole room, it spreads through the roof. Only if the Mitzayra is sitting, because it says Moishava, he has to be sitting. So now let's go back to that chart over there. So here he is sitting. So everything's good. He's doing what the Torah says to do, to sit. So now the branches are above him. It's like a roof, like in this room. So the guy standing over there, that's not Tameh, what's his halacha? What comes to him? What happens to him? He becomes Tameh because the Mitzayra is sitting. So here you see how it goes? The tumah goes up onto the tree, comes down, becomes Tameh. Chaim, you're missing out over here. But if the reporter is standing up, it's not Moishavai. So what happens? His tumah goes up to the tree. And what happens to the guy? Nothing. The guy is tar because the guy is standing. Okay, that's simple till this point. Because the guy, the Mitzayra is sitting, so anybody under the tree is Tameh. Now, don't pay attention so much to what the guy that's tar, if he's standing or sitting, it doesn't make a difference. It's just giving you trying to show a different case. The tar could be standing, sitting, that is not negate him. What's important is whether or not the Mitzayra is sitting. So if the Mitzayra is standing, everybody under the tree is tar. And if he sat himself down, becomes tameh. What's important to our sugi is this next line. You have a stone in a house that has an affliction. The walls of the house have tzaras. So the guy takes out the stone. He's holding the stone. The stone has tumah. So it goes like this. If the guy holding the stone is sitting, then everything is tameh because the stone is sitting. If the guy holding the stone is standing, then everything under the tree is tar. So what do you see? That the stone is in his hand. So you guys were saying that's like he's sitting. No, it's like he's standing. If it goes by the person holding the stone, so it goes by the donkey holding the human being. No? So you're thinking it. Makes sense now. The guy holding the stone, he's standing. We go by him, not by where the stone is. The stone is very comfortable, in a seat. He's in the palm of the guy's hand. Yeah, like over here. It's a terrible picture, but that's what came out. He's holding is this stone sitting or standing? The stone is standing. Why? Because the human being is standing. As soon as the human being sits down, it's sitting. So too, the donkey, when it's walking, it's standing. Okay? As a side note, very cool, that the Rebbe Akiva Eger's grandson became a chassid. The Rebbe Akiva Eger was very sad about it. Back in the day when all the Golan came out against Chasidus and they put the Chasidim Chaim, there was a small group, and the Rebbe Akiva Eger was like, "What, my grand?" So he asked him a shayla. He said, "Why don't we blow shofar on Shabbos? Don't blow shofar on Shabbos because maybe the guy is going to take the shofar to a mumcha and find out how to blow a shofar. How often does that happen? But here's the bigger problem," says the Rebbe Akiva Eger. According to the mandama that says that mahalach koimed, it's similar to this. This is rochav k'mahalach. Mahalach koimed means a person who's walking. There's one sheet that says that he's standing still. Why? Because at any given time his foot is on the ground. Unless you're running, then both feet are up in the air sometimes. But when you're walking, you have one foot placed on the ground solid. So that millisecond that you're on the ground, you're not moving. You're not moving. I could go like this, shake back and forth my body, and one foot going this way, that way, as long as one foot is down. So this mandama says you're never walking. In Rosh Hashanah, you can't be over an eitzah according to this mandama. So how are you over eitzah? How are you over carrying Rosh Hashanah? The answer is only if you jump. Only if you jump 4 amas. So that's Rebbe Akiva Eger's his grandchild Tell me, does that make sense? Klal Yisrael doesn't blow a shofar. Millions of people not blowing a shofar because maybe one guy is going to jump 8 feet. How many people even know how to jump 8 feet? An Olympic jumper Jew who doesn't know how to blow a shofar is going to jump over the puddle to get to his Rebbe, and that's why we don't blow shofar. So you know what the Chassid said? He said, when the guy wants to blow shofar, he's so excited that he's running to do the mitzvah and he jumps. And it makes sense. And he goes to Shitasai, there's a Shita, that same man says that you're not over until he says you run to Divrei mitzvah. Okay, fine. So the Gemara, so if so, that a walking animal, it's as if you're mahalach, you're walking, standing, and memela shmamino. Iboilu. Ma'alama b'nei sefer Torah. Everybody knows the answer to this. If a sefer Torah comes into the room, do you stand up or not? Of course you do. If a person who learns the Torah, you stand up. So from the Torah itself, of course you should stand up. So Reb Moshe Feinstein says that there's only people that learn very shitchias. If they try to mimic what it says in the Torah, so the Torah is even more chashan than them. The Torah has all these words, and a human being just took the words, like put it in his computer. So if you stand up for the human being, certainly you should stand up for the source. But says Reb Moshe, what if the human being takes the Torah and learns it very deep and comes up with chidushim? So now he improved the Torah. So now you don't have the kolchkin anymore. Reb Eli, Reb Yaakov Bar Zavdi Haviyasvi, I think Tanoim was sitting. Cholav Azor Reb Shimon Bar Abba v'komu kamei. So Reb Shimon Bar Abba walked by and he jumped up. They stood up for him. Omer Lahu, so he told them, Chada datun chakim evano chaver. So after we had all these stories of Amoraim upset at their Talmidim, how come you didn't stand up for me, Abaya, and all of a sudden you have here another story. So you see, they weren't upset as Gaiva, obviously, Chas v'Shalom. It was, I'm trying to teach my Talmidim halacha. Why did you stand up for me? I didn't pay attention, one said. But now he's saying, listen, you shouldn't stand up for me. Why? Because you're greater than me. You're chachamim. I'm just a chaver. It's a lower level. Void, another reason. The Torah doesn't stand up for those. You're learning Torah now. You shouldn't be standing up for another person. And, in other words, they are the Torah because they're learning Torah. I'm just a Talmid Chacham. So the Torah itself shouldn't stand up. You're learning, I'm not. Which I found fascinating, that a Tana, an Amoira, wouldn't be learning as he's walking. We know that the Gedolim in our generation, they learn while they're walking. So how do you have a person that's not thinking and learning? I don't know. So like Reb Elazar says the Gemara, holds like Reb Elazar, ain't Talmid Chacham Rochel lamoid mipnei rabbi b'shah shoisik b'Torah. A Talmid Chacham is not permitted to stand up while he's learning Torah. Yeah? Shouldn't stand up. Light Allah Abaya. Abaya was very upset at that. It's not true. If you see your Rebbe walking by you and you're learning Torah, you should stand up. But that's how he held. It says in Gemara, it says in the pasuk, they stared at Moshe Rabbeinu until Moshe Rabbeinu got to his tent. Machlokes, is this a nice thing about Klal Yisrael or a terrible thing? The mandama that says it was a terrible thing, like it says over there. In other words, this is a private thing. The Gemara doesn't want to tell us what it is. What did they do wrong? So Rashi says there's a medrash that says they made fun of Moshe Rabbeinu's weight. Can you imagine? Moshe Rabbeinu. He was in Shemayim for 40 days, gave us the Torah, greatest Jew that ever lived. And they had a chutzpah to make fun. They said, oh, look at his thighs. He has thick thighs. That's what Rashi says. And what? And he got thick from us. We made him fat. That's it. We gave him the food, and it's off of our things. It's unbelievable. Stop. It's like, you think that it's a chisaron in our generation, that we make fun of Gedolim. Oh, this Gadol, he's not that smart, and this one is not this, and that. It goes all the way back. This is a machla that we have since the beginning. They were able to make fun of even Moshe Rabbeinu. So that's the terrible thing. But man do'amar l'shvach. But some say no, it's a shvach v'klai Yisrael. What happened? Amachis gomer li Reb Chanina bereid Reb Bo Reb Dim in Chayfa. Chacham over oy milafonav arbabas. So we have three categories, says the Gemara. If a chacham comes in front of you, a regular Talmud chacham, so you don't stand up until he comes 8 feet into your domain, Rishus. Has to be 8 feet away from you. Arbamos. V'kivin sha'avar arbamos Yosef. And what can you sit down? So we have also different categories. A regular Talmud chacham, when he walks 4 amos away from you, about 8 feet away from you, you can sit down. Then next category is Av Bezdin, the head of the Bezdin. Oiver. It's not 4 feet, 4 amos anymore. It's as far as your eye can see. But then sitting down is like a Talmud Chacham. When he walks away 4 amos, Yosef. Nasi Oiver. But what about the head of the generation? Then you stand up when as far as your eye can see. You don't sit down until he sits down. So that's a shvach that they waited until Moshe Rabbeinu went to his tent and then they sat down. Kol mitzvahs asay shazman groma. So over here, if you were in the first year, so pretend I didn't talk about this, but if you're listening to this for the first time, so I recommend it's a nice exercise. Thank you. It's a nice exercise to ask your wife or your daughters, what are the mitzvahs shazman groma that they're potter, and what are the mitzvahs shazman groma that they're chayiv? And I found it fascinating because it was on Rosh Hashanah, and immediately the girls that I had in my house for the meal, the 6 seminary girls, they right away said, "Oh, we're chayiv in shofar, even though it's a mitzvah shazman groma, it comes once a year, chayiv." And they were shocked to learn that they're not chayiv. And then I went and I asked other people, my wife, married women that came for the sudas and this and that. Nobody knew. And what's a mitzvah shazman groma that you are chayiv? They didn't know. It's matzah. One woman came up with simcha. That she knew. 2 women said afikoymen, but matzah they forgot. They skipped over matzah. One woman, seriously, she was very depressed. I'm not joking. One of my guests today, she's like, matzah. And that's the one mitzvah I don't like, and I have my own shiurim, I do my own kazayas, I have a woman's kazayas, she tells me, I have to start being makbid on it. They didn't teach her in seminary. Okay? And the best was, Reb Eli, I pretend this is funny, I pretend you didn't hear this before. The best is that one of the girls said, Mitzvah is my grandma, kaparas. Yeah, oh, this one I didn't tell you. This is another one. Simonim alel Rosh Hashanah. Maybe that's the mitzvah shazman groma. I'm not making this up. Emes. Huh? Tashlich she didn't say. No. Okay. Fine. Torah bottom. Bottom line on the Lam Gimel base. Ezi mitzvah shazman groma. What's a mitzvah shazman groma? Oh, I should really show this. So on Rosh Hashanah, what I had everybody do is close their Gemara, and there was a few mechutzafim that didn't, and I forced them to. Fine, they did. And I said, okay, let's go through all the things. What's a mitzvah shazman groma? And people came up with some very interesting things. What about Parshas Zachar? We know women run to shul in Parshas Zachar. Is that a mitzvah shazman groma? Are they even chayiv in Parshas Zachar? That's a whole. It doesn't seem like they're chayiv. But even if they are, it might not be a mitzvah shazman groma. It could be it's a mitzvah shazman groma because you could do michias hamalek all year round, every day. Okay, different things that came out. Kiddush, hadlokas neiros, which is the rabbanon, different things. Eizi mitzvah shazman groma, sukkah, lulav. Mamish 2 weeks from now, sukkah and lulav. And here's the kicker, shofar. We're on Rosh Hashanah. We're mamish learning this on Rosh Hashanah. Shofar, it's a kiss from Hashem. But what's beautiful is that I didn't tell it to the Elan, I'm telling it to you now, that when you learn something, it's as if you were Mekayim it, and we couldn't be Mekayim it on Shabbos. Yesterday was Shabbos. We didn't have shofar, but we're learning about shofar. Learning about shofar is like, so it's interesting. Do women make a bracha on mitzvah shazman groma? The potter from a lulav. Does your wife make a bracha before she shakes the lulav? Does your daughter make a bracha? Is she supposed to? Sfardim don't. You know that? Sfardim don't, right? They don't. And I heard that Tzanz they don't even let their women. I heard that they don't let their women even listen to shofar. And there's one woman that married into tzanz. That was the hard part for her. She shouldn't go to shul to hear shofar. Okay. V'tzitzis. So tzitzis is a whole thing. Is it a zman groma, not zman groma? But let's assume tzitzis. You don't wear tzitzis at night. Utfilin. And tefillin. So why is tefillin a mitzvah seisha zman groma? Because shouldn't we be wearing it at night? And if he could wear it at night, shouldn't be wearing it on Shabbos. And we're going to see tomorrow, or Daf Lamed Hey, there are those who argue and say tefillin is not a mitzvah seisha zman groma. You could wear it on Shabbos. Ve'ezi mitzvah say shelo zman groma. What's a mitzvah? Mitzvah say shelo zman groma, that you chayiv in it every single day. Mezuzah. Tell you real quickly, because when I say mezuzah, this is the shocker. I couldn't believe this coming out of Reb Chaim Kanievsky's mouth. So I had somebody, a person, go ask him again. I said, here, take this. I'm paying you to go ask Reb Chaim. I don't believe that he said it. Reb Chaim said, yes, I did say it. That a person gave somebody $100,000 to watch. He said, put it in your safe. So the guy put it in a safe. In the middle of the night, Ganovim came, whatever, I don't know if Ganovim or Ganovim came, took the money out of the safe. It turns out there's no mezuzah on the door. So Chaim Kanievsky paskined that the guy has to pay the $100,000 because he didn't have a mezuzah on the door. I was like, it's impossible. He never said something. No, I said it. Because a mezuzah gives shmirah, and you were posheya by not doing the shmirah. The guy thought there's going to be a certain shmirah there. You say it makes sense. I don't understand it. Anyway, v'shiluach haken. Shiluach haken is chasing away the mother bird. And real quickly, as a public service announcement, because there's a lot of birds in this neighborhood, and a lot of people are mekayim the mitzvah. So there's certain things you have to know. First of all, if you want to be mekayim the mitzvah, the chatchila has to be the mother bird, and the mother bird usually, when it comes to pigeons, sits on the eggs at night, not during the day. So if you're trying to do it during the day, it's probably not yahtzeh. The other thing is, if you take your ladder and you put it against the wall next to the bird, and the bird flies away, so also you're not you have to do it really quick. Another thing is in my house, when they lay their eggs on my porch, unfortunately, you have to be mafkir your porch. It can't be your porch. So it's another thing. People don't know. They go and they do the thing. Fine. And then there was a nice zoyar, real quickly, because we have plenty of time tonight. We always thought that by you chasing away the bird, you're showing rachmanas, that the bird shouldn't see you taking away its the chicks or the eggs. But the zoyar says the opposite. No, the bird is very bitzar. The bird goes and cries, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu hears those cries, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu remembers that we're in galus. That's what the zoyar says. Okay. Another point is, nothing to do, now we're going to go to the sugya, that Taisa says, wait a minute, you're telling me that these things, mezuzah, makkah, did I say makkah? I don't even know if I said it. Makkah, you have to put a fence, up there, you see up there, we're over every day. So the fence, we have, I don't know, who knows? Aveda, we used to have a kid. Remember that kid? What's his name? Akiva. He used to put a dingle his feet and hey, get back over there. Okay, the next day he's back. He's a great kid. Where's that kid? He's in yeshiva somewhere. So, Aveda, a woman is chayev when she finds a lost item any day of the week. I have to give it back. So Tosfos asks, these are not mitzvahs saseh shazman groma. All these mitzvahs that you just mentioned have a lois saseh. There's an isser if she doesn't. So he says, no, there's cases where there's only an assay and a lois assay, such as when she picks up the aved and she says, I will return this. So now she's not over on the lois assay because she had in mind to return it, then she forgot. Okay, next. Ask the Gemara, Klalu, is this a so now if you look at the chart, you'll understand the Gemara's kasha. You're telling me the whole column on the right, Sukalul Shoyvet Tzitzis Tefillin, and we're going to stick in Alila regulated around. Wait a minute. There's a few exceptions to the rule. Look at the column on the left. Matzah, Simcha Hakel, the exception. And then when you talk about mitzvahs and say Shalei Azman Groma, that every day they're chayiv, there's a column on the right that they're potter, and there's a column on the left that they're chayiv. The kids there's a big mix up here. There's things that they're chayiv, things that they're potter, things that potter chayiv. So what do we do? Uklalo, hari matzah, simcha. So matzah, that's the one that a lot of women forget. I'm sure they know deep down, like once you remind, yeah. Simcha. Simcha, you have to be happy. The hardest mitzvah in the Torah to be Mekayim according to the Golan. Simcha. Now, what's interesting is, if you think about it, this year, we are not going to be able to be Mekayim Lulav Midaraisa, but Simcha is Daraisa this year. So just remember that. Simcha, be happy. Whatever that means. According to the Shita, you have to buy your wife's things, so you have to do that. But you yourself have to be Sameach, you have to drink wine and eat good meat, and just be happy. You can't be mad at the kids. Just be happy. You're on the daf, you'll be happy, stay away. Kids. Hakel. Hakel is the chiyuv once every 7 years. You go to the Beis Hamikdash, women, men, children, everybody goes, and the Chaim, the who is it? Kohen Gadol reads the parashas. The mitzvahs I say, I have the Shemitah, but is it the Kohen Gadol? It's gone. The king. You're right. Shkoyach Yosef. The mitzvah says Shazman Grom of Noshim. What would we do if you didn't make Aliyah? The mitzvah says Shazman Grom of Noshim Chayavois. These are all things that are time dependent. Only once every 7 years, or only on Yom Tov you have to be happy. Only on Pesach Matzah, and women are chayiv. By the way, Chanukah, Megillah. These are all things that l'chayra is Zman Groma, and I don't know. Afem hoyu bois haneis, but I don't know if they're chayiv like that. Okay. V'su vari Talmud Torah, learning Torah, woman is not chayiv, but it's a chiyuv to do every single day. Birvi ribya is every day. Chiyuv, there's no time that you're not chayiv. Yes, chayiv. Oh, what about Yom Kippur? I'm thinking about that one. Okay, we have to think about it.
What
about Shalach Manos?
Same thing. It should also be.
Oh, it's a Zman Groma. Okay. Yeah. The Rabbanans. Right. So the Chanukah and Megillah is also not. Kiddushin on Shabbos. Peter Ben, Lavin says this is Zman Groma, V'noshim P'turois. Wait a minute, these are mitzvahs that you chayiv every single day. Once the kid goes past 30 days, so now the chiyuv is every single day of his life, and a woman is potter. So this is annoying, kind of, because he says, no, just because you have a klal doesn't mean anything. There's a yoytzim and a klal. There's an exception to the rule. And even if it's a very, very strong klal that says the word chutz, no, you don't have to stick to the klal. It's not. So go to our chart here, especially if you're new to this year. This is how it was in the olden days. They had houses that dumped into a front yard. It's called a hareh'tz. Now, you can't carry from one house to the other. You can't carry in the lawn, the green part, you can't carry. You also can't carry in the mavui. The mavui is that street that goes in the center, the gray street. The gray street also dumps into the very big street, the Rosh Hashanah. So they said it's also for you to carry in the gray area, the mavui, because you might come to carry outside into the black. So what you do is you make an eruv. You make an eruv of chatzeres between the houses according to Rashi. We're not talking about an eruv tchumim here. And you also make a shitufim mavais. You mishtatif all the houses together. They own that middle alleyway together. What do you use? You use any food besides two foods. Chutz min hamayim hamelach. The water. You don't even make a shahakal on water unless you're whatever. Very thirsty, but it doesn't. Melach doesn't give you sustenance. But wait a minute, there's more than two foods. You have truffles, one of the world's most expensive foods, and mushrooms. Also, they're not considered food for an eruv. So you see from here that we don't include everything. Interesting to point out, the Chaim from Tzan says that potatoes, I guess because of Europe also, potatoes, it's called kartoflach. So kartoflach is like truffles, so he held that potatoes is like a mushroom, and you're supposed to make a shahakal on a potato. So it's throwing out a sheet there. You don't like it, it's good. That's why I'm trying to push your button here.
You say from Sams or something.
Why a lot of tzan stuff? Yeah. I know somebody that married into tzans. That's why I know a lot of stuff from tzans. Yeah, what? Kartoflach.
Truffles and truffle, right?
That's what I said. You're not paying attention.
You said like he said it. The accent.
Truffles and kartoflach. Yeah. Okay, so you have a general rule, water and salt, but it also includes other stuff. How do you know that you have a mitzvah say shazman grama? It's time dependent. Women are part from all of them. Gomar mitfilin. We have a mitzvah. Just like we find that a woman is potter from tefillin, so too any mitzvah that's like tefillin, that's time dependent, she's potter. Mat tefillin nashim turas. I've called mitzvah say shazman grama nashim turas. For tefillin, how do you know tefillin? Gomar la mitama torah. Tefillin we have a lima from tama torah, mat tama torah nashim turas. Of tefillin nashim turas. So we learn tefillin from Torah, and we learn all mitzvahs from tefillin. B'kitzur, women are part of from mitzvahs that are time dependent, like tefillin. Says Gemara, "V'nakish tefillin lemezuzah." Why are you learning? Oh, so for this, let me see where it is. Oh, right over here. So here's the psukim. It says, "Ukshartim lo yizayidecha." Right? We're saying these psukim we're all very familiar with. Say in Shema. We're tefillin. Pasuk before that says, learn Torah. Pasuk after that says, you should write a mezuzah. So the Gemara says, I'm learning Pasuk Ches from Pasuk Zayin. Just like Pasuk Zayin. She doesn't have a chiyuv. It says, Vishinantam levonecha, to your men, to the boys, and a girl is potter from Torah. So too, kshartam, a girl's potter. Ask the Gemara the obvious question. But the next Pasuk it says, uchsaftam mezuzahs. And we, in the column of things that a woman is chayav, is a mezuzah. So wait a minute. You should learn tefillin from mezuzah. Just like a woman is chayiv in a mezuzah, she should be chayiv in tefillin. Why are you learning pasuk ches to zayin? Learn pasuk ches to tes. Who told you which direction to go? V'nakish tefillin mezuzah. Yeah, the Gemara says in 3 words. V'nakish tefillin mezuzah. But now it's explained. You see the Gemara's kasha. It's givaldik. It says Gemara tefillin talmud Torah itkash bein b'parshat shon and bein b'parshat shniya. Now look at the bottom part of this chart. In the next parsha in Shema that we say every day, it says Ukshartem moisam, and then immediately afterwards in Pasuk Yutes it says V'limatem moisam. So over here, tefillin is close to Torah and very far from mezuzah, 2 psukim away from mezuzah. So in other words, tefillin, the red, is close to Torah in two parts of Shema. And what?
Why is the order different?
I don't know why. That's how it is in the Torah. That's how we say it every day. But the fact is, it is different. And because it's different, we learn tefillin from Torah and not tefillin from mezuzah. It's a good shayla. I don't know why Hashem wrote it like that. That's how he did it. Says Gemara, ask Gemara, okay. But look at Pasuk Chaf on the bottom. Pasuk Chaf on the bottom, you should compare it to Pasuk Yutes. And what do we say? Pasuk Yutes is talking about Torah. Torah women are not included. So women shouldn't have to put a mezuzah on their house. Pasuk Chaf should tell us that women don't have to put a mezuzah in the house because it's right next to Torah, and Torah they're potter from. So the Belzerov says, the reason why women like to sing so much is because of this Gemara right over here. Why? Because if you don't learn the Gemara with a niggin, then it's very bad for women. It goes like this. Gavri boychai. Men need to live. Nashil boychai. They don't need to live. That's if you say without a niggin. But if you do with the Gemara niggin, it goes like this. Gavri boychai. Nashi loy boychai. It's how you read it. So since you put a question mark here, what, women don't need to live? It says by putting up a mezuzah on your door, you get arichas yamim, you get life. Women don't need life; they need life just as much as a man. Says Gemara, wait a minute, sukkah is only once a year. It's man grama. Only 7 days a year. Time of the kosav. So let's go back to this chart. Why not? Okay, let's look. On the right side, one of the things that a woman is potter is sukkah. Now, Why does the Torah have to tell me she's potter from a sukkah? It's obvious she's potter from a sukkah. Why? It's a mitzvah sazesha as man grama, and all mitzvahs sazesha as man grama, a woman is potter, including a shofar, including tzitzis, including a sukkah. Why is a sukkah different than everything else in the list? Why does the Torah have to go out of its way and tell you, by the way, a woman is potter from a sukkah? Where does the Torah say that? It says, time because Rachmana ha-ezrach, with the hey, loizis hanoshim. Otherwise, women will be chayav. But why? It's a mitzvah that has my grandma, and they're all potter from that. The famous halacha that you have to sit in your sukkah like you live in your house. There's people that bring in the couch, air conditioner, do whatever they can do that should be mamish like their house. But more importantly, with the people that you're familiar with every day, your wife is with you, so your wife should be with you in the sukkah. So there's a famous Ramah right here that says, I want to be melamed zchus on the men who don't sleep in the sukkah. Why don't men sleep in the sukkah? What's going on here? Now, if you're Lebovic, it's also to sleep in the sukkah. That's a whole different story. I never really understood it. They tried to explain it to me 100 times. Huh? No, I know. Not the Rebbe today. One of the Friedrich Rebbes, not the Balatanya. I don't think it was Balatanya. He said you can't sleep in the sukkah because they're right. The tumah that the human being is tameh and brings into the sukkah, and they felt that they shouldn't. Okay, I don't understand it because it's a pasuk in the Torah. It's a chiyuv. It's Shulchan Aruch says you have to. Fine. I'll go upon him. The Ramah says, but why is it that people that believe they should sleep in the sukkah, they don't sleep in the sukkah? He says maybe perhaps they have a kula because they hold Teshuvah Kein Teduru, and their wife is at home. Mela, they go in the house. So the Gra and the Magen Avram, they argue with that. They say it's not a reason, no way. And besides, the Mishnah brings that if you're able to build your own little sukkah for you and your wife, then you're mechuyev to do that, and you have no reason, there's no excuse in the world not to sleep in the sukkah.
Wait, but isn't there a whole thing at Shana Rishana that a man isn't supposed to?
So no. So there's a shayla in Shana Rishana. There are people that are makel in Shana Rishana, but it doesn't apply to them Shana Rishana. They pass it out like that. There's some that don't sleep in the sukkah Shana Rishana because came to duru and whatever. But I don't think we pass it like that. There's maybe some people do that. I don't know. Fine. I grew up. My father always used to make a little private sukkah, especially when he had another floor. There's a little sukkah off the bedroom kind of thing. That's how. So gronics, it's very accepted that the woman sleeps in the sukkah, without the rest of the family, of course. Virov Amar, Itzrich. Yeah, that's what we're holding. Rav Amar, Itzrich. Socket at Chamina Chamisha. Let's find that one. Here we go. So we have the word Chamisha Asar when it talks about a matzah. We have Chamisha Asar when it talks about a sukkah. So maybe says the Gemara, just like women are chayiv to eat matzah, avka anoshim chayavos. Tzricha. Okay, the sponsored for all those in need of Refuah Shelemah and whatever in honor of my uncle Reb Eli Pressman as a zchut for a year filled with mazel. Bracha Hatzlocha and parnasa berevach for all of the Leiluy family. Says the Gemara, very real. The mitzvah says my grandma. Here's real. It says in the pasuk, Shalish pa'amim b'shana yiriyah kol zchucha. If you're in Yerushalayim on Yontif, you know what we're talking about over here. Even not in Yerushalayim, all of Klal Yisrael goes up. The whole Eretz Yisrael goes up to the Kaisel. 1,000. That's the famous, especially if you're a tourist, the biggest Kahanim. But even like Shavuos night, there's thousands and thousands of people that go Shavuos night to the Kaisel to Dam Besikin. But it's just as a zeicher to this mitzvah, the tremendous mitzvah of Riyah, of going up to the Beis Hamikdash 3 times a year. The mitzvah is a mangrama of the time it goes to Rachmana Zechurcha, and now take a look. It says Yerokol Zechurcha. It says Mefurish only a zachar should go. But why? It's a mitzvah that says mangrama. It's time dependent, only 3 times a year. So automatically a woman should be potter. Why do I need a special pasuk Zechurcha? Because by Hakel it also says, here's the pasukim by Hakel. And then it says all the way in the bottom, Noshim are Chayiv. So I would think that Oilas Ri'iyah, Aliyah L'Regel, you should be Chayiv because you do a comparison to Hakel, Kamash Malonat. As the Gemara of Adi Yafinon, Mitfilin Leptura, Nelef Mesimcha Lichiyuva. Why are you learning from Tefillin that a woman is potter from all mitzvahs? Shaloi has my grandma. Sorry. Mitzvahs has my grandma. Tefillin's mitzvahs has my grandma. Why do you say that a woman is potter? Learn from Simcha. Simcha is a mitzvah shaz my grandma. You only have to be happy on the Shalosh Regalim. Or the Chiyuv. You have to be happy every day. But the Chiyuv to be happy is on the Shalosh Regalim. So what is that called? A mitzvah shaz my grandma. And she's chayiv. So all mitzvahs shaz my grandma, a woman should be chayiv. Or Abaya, Isha Bala Mesamcha. No, v'samachta b'chagecha. Here, let's look at it. V'samachta b'chagecha, atu vincha uvitecha. It says in the pasuk. It says mefurish that the simcha goes on a daughter, and then later on it says almana. Says the Gemara. No, Abaye says no, and this is what we're familiar with. I argue with Abaye because this is a very expensive mitzvah. Chas v'shalom. I can't argue with Abaye. I mean, I'm going to hold like the other shita. Misamachta is she should be happy with herself. She should make herself happy. Why do I have to go buy her jewelry now? Jewelry and clothing and all these zaken. But Abai says no. Misamachta means the husband. But it says Misamachta. So he reads it Visimachta. Not Visamachta. Not you should be happy. You have to make her happy. How? Jewelry and clothing. Unless you're a magachir, whatever, then you're potter. Almana mai ikele meimar. Now wait a minute. It says in the pasuk, Voha almana. Almana, obviously, how is she an almana? How is she a widow? She doesn't have a husband. But it says v'samachta. So how can you read it v'simachta? You, the husband, should make her happy. She doesn't have a husband. So obviously v'samachta is talking about she herself has to make herself happy. Then the rest of the pasuk is also about her, she herself. So what's going on here? It says Gemara b'shuruya etzlai. Tremendous chiddush. If a person takes upon himself to take care of an almana, oy vavoy. It's like, okay, it's a tremendous thing, but you have to buy her jewelry and clothing unless you're a magachir. No, I'm serious. Like a guy said, okay, I'm going to be a big bal chesed. I'm going to take upon myself an almana. All of a sudden, they give him a bill. Wait a minute. What about the necklace? What about all the clothing? It's unbelievable. So you should know that this is a thing. B'shuriya, it's like, you take care of adasaf. Says Gemara, why are you learning mitzvah shazman grama from tefillin? I have another one on the list. Let's go back to the list a second, if we can. Any list here. Let's take this list, whatever. What do you see on the side of mitzvah shazman grama? That women are chayiv. So we spoke about simcha, and now I ask the Gemara, what about hakel? Hakel, she's chayiv. So learn all the torah from there. Says Gemara, mishum da have matzav hakel shnei ksuvim abayim keachad. Boom! Here, look at this. Rabbi said, wow, look at this. Oh, you see that happening? No, I'll do it again.
Replay.
No, some guys were spacing out. There's a box. So now, since we have two psukim that say the same exact thing, what's geshmak about the sugya is that once we finish with the sugya, we won't be scared anymore about these shnei ksuvim abayim keachad business. It's like pashut. So now we have two psukim, one that says hakel and one that says matzah. It tells us you cannot. Oh, there's only 40 seconds left of this year. Oh boy. You have two psukim that say the same thing, and once they say the same thing, the idea is that why would Hashem repeat himself? Say it once by hakel, and I learn from the rest of the Torah. I'm saying it by hakel. I'm saying it by matzah. To tell us, it's only these two places that a woman is chayiv, even though it's mitzvah, the rest of the Torah is not. Yachi asked the Gemara, tefillin v'riyah nami shnei abayim ke'echad. Check this out, Rabbi Isai. Oops, don't check that one out. Check this one out, maybe. Here, look at this box. Tefillin and aliyah l'regel is also two psukim on the right column, not on the left column. Should teach you, and you cannot learn out from tefillin. How do you know that a woman is chayiv in mitzvah shazman groma? It is not chayiv, it's potter from tefillin. But you cannot learn out from tefillin, because tefillin and aliyah l'regel are two things, two psukim. Says the Gemara Tzrichi. Once I tell you that each pasuk is necessary, so it's not considered two, because each one has a tzrichusa. Because of Rahman Tefillin, because of Riyah, I would think that you learn Riyah, Alila Regel from Hakel, that this should be Chayiv. So therefore it says Riyah that she's potter. Because Rahman, because right, Churcha, we saw the pasuk before. It has to be a Zachar. Because Rahman Riyah, because it's Tefillin, if it wouldn't say Tefillin, have a mina akish Tefillin mezuzah. I would say that you should learn Tefillin from mezuzah, that a woman is Chayiv in Tefillin. Tzricha. So each one has a tzrichusa. Once I have a tzrichusa, it's not considered Shnei Ksuvim Abayim Kecha. As the Gemara, Yacham Matzav Hakal Nami Tzrichi. Oh, I like that idea, says the Gemara. So now, a second ago we said that we have matzah and hakel, right? So let me make a tzrichusa. The Gemara doesn't even know what the tzrichusa is going to be. Let's try. Let's go. Here, we'll start. The my tzrichi. Let's say just said hakel and not matzah. We say that a woman should be potter from matzah, just like a woman is potter from a sukkah. So therefore, I needed. That's why I need matzah. So just say matzah. Why do you have to say hakel? And I would say, if a little kid, a 7-year-old kid, has to go to the Beis Hamikdash to hear the king say the psukim, certainly a woman who has many more mitzvahs than a kid. A kid has 0 mitzvahs. He has to go to the Beis Hamikdash, so a woman who has a lot of mitzvahs, she should go. Says Gemara, and we're going to have this on Daf Lamed Hey again, the same kasha. But the Gemara says it here. Every time we say that's only according to the mandam. It says what are you going to do according to the mandam? It says the mandam Vesu, and the Gemara doesn't go into the answer now. Vesu mitzvah sasei shelo yaz man grama. The fact that we know that a mitzvah sasei shelo yaz man grama, that's not time dependent. Like what? Mezuzah makah aveda, all these things. Noshim chayava, is there chayiv in a mezuzah and a makah? Minolan, how do you know it? Says the Gemara, the ultimate Moira. I learned from Kibbutz Aveim. Ma Moira noshim chayav is avkol. Mitzvah seish is man grama noshim chayav. It's just like a woman has to fear her parents, even though it's every single day of the year. So too, anything that's every single day of the year, a woman is chayiv. And now, I guess we could stop right over here, because that's how we started. Hey, Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful Yom Tov.